Folly Farm. But right now, I'm here with Hayley. Good evening.
Good evening, everyone.
We have been talking deep-rooted things this evening, looking at why we behave certain ways, what the emotional roots and ties are that lead us to act in those ways, and not only looking at the actions that we do, but where those actions have come from. We've gone back to 8 years old in some of our examples here this evening, and about how, if we were to look as to why we respond in certain ways, how we could overcome them. And we just finished talking there about the emotional, the emotional roots is where we're at, and the health implications of it, and looking at the root cause and looking at how we can become more resilient, how we can learn a little bit more, and how understanding that can help us even more overcome those root problems that we have. And we were just talking there about thriving, not just surviving.
Yeah, it's. I think a lot of us now, particularly now, with everything that's going on in the world, people are feeling like they're surviving. And we are very much, I think, with social media being what it is, and it's been around for a long time now, it's very much about getting that immediate gratification, feeling better in the moment, but not really thinking about the longer term. And I think that's what's missing when it comes to well-being. We do a lot of management of surface level stuff. You know, I just pulled up now. I was interested to see what other people think about what is nurturing your soul. And it is very unique to each and every one of us. There isn't one thing that's going to fit everybody. And that's how it is. That's life, isn't it? But I don't know about, will these fit other people? So this is 15 ways, I'll read 8 of them, practical ways to nourish the soul. Watch a sunrise. Does that work for you?
I do love the sunrise, and being a breakfast show host means that I've seen my fair share. But the thought of having to wake up early to go and do it does not nurture my soul.
See, but it also, I love a sunrise. I love a sunset. I love nature.
Sunset for me, I will travel, and I did this and failed spectacularly. I was like, I'm going to watch the sunset this evening. Drove all the way to the west of Pembrokeshire to find that the sunset that evening was further north than I anticipated. So I drove all the way to St. David's to find out that it was even further north. And actually, there was, because what I love is the sun setting over the horizon, in particular, over the ocean. So that flat line and the sun going through it. And I was like, and I chased it. I literally chased the sunset, and I didn't get it. But I will watch it until that last bit of glimmer of sun disappears. And you know what? I feel just so light and like I've enjoyed that moment.
And I think I love the sunset. I love the sunrise as well. But if you are stressed, does it have the same impact? So it's okay having a list of things that nourish your soul. But if you're not dealing with all the other stuff we've talked about, is it having the same impact? Or is it just something that you're just doing to make yourself feel better in the moment?
There are examples. I'm going to use me as an example where I've gone down thinking this is going to help. This is going to help. But I'm so tied up on the thing that I think it's going to help that I haven't actually focused on the sunset, because I did it as a means to an end. I didn't go down there just to be washed over with it, which are two different things.
They are. And I think this is the thing. It's being immersed in something physically, emotionally, and mentally, and even spiritually to some degree. But being immersed in it and truly being in the moment and thoroughly enjoying the whole experience, that for me is nourishing your soul. So whatever it is. So the other 7 things I've got here is read scripture or another book of wisdom. Again, I can read books. I enjoy reading to a degree now. But if I'm not in the mood for it, I may have to read the same page 20 times and I still haven't got it. I just go to sleep.
Yeah.
Keep a daily gratitude journal. Yeah, but if I'm not truly connected, there we are. Okay, there's the word, I think.
Yeah, there
If
it
I'm
is.
not truly connected with it, am I truly nourishing my soul, or am I just surface level management? And I think it is, again, it's quite a big thing to think about, because I love nature. I love being in the sea. I love the water. I love anything to do with nature. And being in the sea more often than not does wash away some stuff, particularly when it's freezing cold.
Yeah, the mind goes blank. Help.
Yeah, completely. But if my headspace is elsewhere and I'm in the water, then I'm not gaining the benefits of absolutely nourishing the whole of me.
Yeah. And what's kind of, I'm going to use the word frustrating in that situation, is there anything really that grand that we can't just forget about it for a while? But we hold on to our tasks, don't we? We hold on to these things, even though we're just floating in the water. It's like, oh, I need to send that email when I go home. No, stop it.
You're right, but we are conditioned, aren't we, to be switched on all the time, particularly with social media.
Oh, in this
We are
day and age, yeah.
constantly switched on. I lay down today beside the pool, and I thought I'd just sunbathe because I'm chasing the sun around the kind of yard thing, and I woke up thinking, I've only got 5 days left. And I couldn't relax. I just couldn't, because that was on my mind. And yet, here I am in my optimal environment, or so I think, not enjoying it.
Yeah, even though the 5 days is still a whole 5 days away. That's not going to change. It's not going to be like, oh no, actually, it's now. Like, but the brain is still thinking, oh, it's only 5 days. And then you start filling the itinerary. And then you start thinking, hang on, I came here to do nothing. I'm here to sit on the sun lounges and get in that pool, full stop. And now I'm thinking, oh no, I need to go on the quad bike excursion. I need to go on the parasails. I need to sign up for the art lesson. You know, it's like, no, you stop it. Just relax.
But there's the difference, isn't it? Mentally being in that moment. And I think we talk about mindfulness. It took me a long time to understand. I did training in it as well, but it took me a long time to understand that mindfulness is literally just being in the moment. You don't have to do anything special. You don't have to go anywhere special. You don't have to go and be with anybody special. It's being in the moment and experiencing that moment for whatever that is. So for me, sometimes it's just watching the kids laughing and joking. That's me in the moment. Sometimes it's just being by myself in the water or in bed or writing a journal. But if I'm not connected to that and my head is elsewhere, there's no nurturing the soul then.
No. And if you're not connected to it, but you think, oh no, I must do this because this will make me feel better, isn't that becomes just part of that pattern problem. And then you're just in it for the sake of doing it, when actually that time could have been better spent on something you were connected to.
Absolutely. But I do think that's part of a wider issue when it comes to well-being. And I'm seeing that in some of the groups I'm in WhatsApp and other groups as well, is that people are recommending surface level things or recommending things that are good for the soul. But because of where they're at mentally, it's always only ever going to be surface level. I'm only going to be there. I'll be present. I'll drive and go and watch the sunset, or I'll drive and go and watch the sunrise. But my head is still going 20 miles to the dozen over there doing something else.
No.
So I'm not experiencing that nourishment.
No, and actually you could then make the argument that is it just a procrastination technique because you don't want to confront the situation that you're in. I was like, oh, I'll do it, but I'm just good. The sun is going to set in like 10 minutes. So I'm going to go that way and just I'll deal with it later.
Oh, that is a good one. That is procrastination, using good things for procrastination. Now, I think I've said this to you before. People go to the gym 4, 5, 6, 7 times a week, or they do yoga all those times a week. Now, the difference between it being a good thing and a bad thing. So, yes, it's healthy, it's good for you health-wise. However, if you need to do anything to feel better, to feel a sense of control, to feel a sense of relief, or it's no longer a good thing, mentally at least.
Oh, people that are going to listen and watch this back and be like, "What do you mean?"
I have that reaction a lot, but the difference between need and choose is huge. If you're needing to do something, and one of my examples is always if you're exercising, let's say you go to the gym or you're a runner and you run 7 days a week. What happens when you can't run? If that's your management tool, what happens if you go over on your ankle or something happens and you can't run for a week or 2 weeks, 3 weeks? What happens then?
Yeah, what is the outlet?
So if you don't have a way of switching off, I suppose this is ultimately what nurturing your soul is and nourishing your soul is. It's about being able to switch everything else off and do the thing that you enjoy the most.
Yeah, because my example of that is a little bit counterintuitive because there's usually an audience involved and memorizing lines and being part. But I suppose that's not the nurture part of it. The nurture part of it is when I'm on stage and I'm performing, I'm part of a team that we've worked hard to put on a performance. And in that 2 hours, that hour and a half, whatever it is, when I'm in that character, I get to completely immerse myself in storytelling, and I get to work with colleagues, and I get to make something. I get to make a piece of art. And during that time, I'm literally not allowed my phone on stage. Like I can't check anything. I'm focused in that moment, and I get such a sense of accomplishment and that achievement that comes with that. And I think, gosh, I did that, and I love that. And like Milford Haven Carnival took place over the weekend. I was one of the walkers around the float, and I had my phone in my pocket. I was, I'm still linked with the radio. Toby was on the main stage hosting, but for that time of being on the actual walk, I was Abernathy, and I was promoting a pantomime which I'm really excited about delivering later on in the year. We've got Gareth Thomas walking up, taking pictures with everybody, going up to people, oh, do you think Gareth will take a picture with me? I'm sure I can get Gareth to take a picture with you. Gareth, Jeannie, come over here. I loved that, and that feeling connected to a part of the community which I've never really been part of. Like, I was brought up in the Havens, I live in Haverfordwest, but I got to win and wave and smile and play jokes on people as the bad guy, and I loved it.
But that's the thing, isn't it? You're connected to it. You're doing it in the moment. It's a mindfulness of being there and fully immersed in that experience. And I'd love to know how many people are doing that kind of thing on a regular basis, being that immersed in something. It doesn't have to be a soul thing. It doesn't have to be something that you're doing on your own. It can be with people, but it's what you get out of that moment, isn't it?
Because for me, it's always been a default, probably to sport. I recognized very early on that if I didn't do basketball on a Friday in the run up to my exams, I was a waste of space. Like, I didn't have that focus. And I'm not the best athlete in the world, but I love being in a team sport. And I used to love just being right when I'm on court. I'm now super focused on the outcome of this game. So let's go for it. I'm as placid as they come outside. But if you give me a challenge, it's like, right, come on then. We're going to do this. We're going to do that. I turn into a right little motor mouth when I'm on the field because I care passionately about getting the best performance out of everyone else. One thing that makes me feel like I'm excelling is trying to find the potential in other people. And I love doing that, particularly now that I'm as old as I am, playing football with boys that are as young as they are. It's kind of like, right, what's your potential? Like, what can we help? Whilst also being very mindful as to how I felt in those situations, thinking, oh, well, I hope I don't talk to that person like that, because I remember when someone did that to me and I didn't play football for like a month afterwards because I was like, I'm not worthy, I'm not good enough. So it's that fine balance. And like I'm grateful because of the experience I've had that made me realize that that's sometimes how that could be portrayed. So I often over communicate just to be sure. But I love it. And there's something about when you're on that field, like when you're on that stage, when you're in that environment, you have to be mindful. Otherwise, you're not on your game.
But I think that's the difference. People are doing things because they should, maybe, or they feel that they should, or that somebody else is doing it. But are they doing it and getting the most out of it? That's the biggest thing. So I see people who are like, I walk every day, or I do this every day, or I do this every week, and I don't feel any better. No, because your mind is so all over the place or all over something else that you're not immersed in that. It's not you.
Oh, I'm losing you on your connection, Hayley, which is really disappointing as we come to the end of this section. You've completely frozen. However, it's what I was going to say off the back of what Hayley was just saying then was that whole thing of keeping up with the Joneses. A lot of what we can potentially do is I'm going to go for a walk every day. I'm going to find the sunsets. I'm going to take pictures of everything, show the picture perfect life to basically work as a comparison with those around us. And keeping up with the Joneses is not the same as I walk every day because it makes me feel nourished. It makes me feel great. And therefore, if I'm feeling great because I'm feeling nourished, I'm doing something that I love, then that's going to filter down, which was the next bit I was going to mention with Hayley. I'm going to take a sip of water just for now, though. As we're still live on social media. And feeling nurtured. And I remember some of my friends realizing that they didn't have to do what everyone else was doing, what their friends were doing, because if they wanted to knit or they wanted to crochet whilst not being an older person, that was okay. And that they were able to learn a new skill. And when they're there in front of their TV and they're thinking, I'm going to make a little bobble hat today. I'm going to make I've just been gifted a crocheted whale, which looks amazing. Then that's okay too. And it's that giving ourselves permission to not just fit in with the status quo and keep up with the Joneses. And actually, we can forge our own paths and we can do our own little thing. And I think that's really important if we're going to nurture ourselves. And whilst we're nurturing ourselves and doing those things that do maybe set us apart, that we can also then look back as to why we feel a certain way and why we can't do or can do something. And going back to those deep-rooted emotional connections, which then looks back at the behavior change where we started this show off this evening. There's still the interview regarding glaucoma still to come. So we've got that to come. I'm just going to wait and see if we just want to see if Hayley is going to make her way back. If not, we are going to press forward with that glaucoma. I'm going to take this opportunity to thank you for tuning in this evening and for watching wherever you may be. And if you have any questions about what we've talked about this evening, or there's something that you want us to broach with which may be going on in your life in strict confidence and in general terms, then we would love to hear from you. You can call or WhatsApp on 01437 76 4455. So we can do that for you. And if you want that treated in confidence, don't worry about it. Just say, this is for the Healthy Minds team. And you can email studio@purewestradio.com. And again, just put in the subject line, Healthy Minds, and it'll come through to the team here. Give us a short description as to what you want us to look at, because I know that Tammy and Hayley are more than happy to field some questions. Of course, they might not know all the intricate details, but hopefully they can give you a heading and somewhere to point the right direction in, which would be fantastic. Or you can use the PWR app, which you can get involved in. Anytime, any day, you can get involved with Pure West Radio. We are 24 hours a day. We're your Pembrokeshire, your station. I'm going to be back tomorrow morning on The Breakfast Show with Folly Farm for Feel Good Friday with Gina, which I'm very excited about. Can't wait to see your tracks and to get you into the weekend frame of mind. A scorching hot weekend frame of mind, no less, which is very exciting. Some tunes for you on the way. We're going to have some Natasha Bedingfield. We're going to have some Chabuzi. And we're going to have some Sugar Babes with About You Now. They're all on the way for you. It's 10:30 here on your Healthy Minds Better Life show. Thank you for joining us. If you've been with us on the social media, I hope you've enjoyed the show. I don't think Hayley's going to come back due to technical issues, but we did cover everything that we wanted to, which I'm over the moon with. So we looked at behavior change. We looked at emotional roots and the health implications. And we were just finishing off our conversation regarding nurturing your soul rather than surface level management. So watch out for that and keeping up with the Joneses. Be sure that you're doing things for you because it will have an impact. And Natasha Bedingfield, I Bruise Easily, plays for you here on Pure West Radio. That interview regarding Glaucoma Awareness Week is coming up here on Pure West Radio.